Hello, you guys, and welcome back to episode 9 of this Python tutorial series. And in this episode, we are going to be going over functions. And functions are a lot easier to go over and learn than for loops and while loops. So this is just like a refresher episode, a chill episode. And all functions do is it's you could think of it like a machine. You input something into a function, and then you'll get something out of it in an output. And it's all ordered in one location, so you're not scrolling through thousands of lines of code. You could just go to this one function, and it does it all there. And so let me explain something and how it works. And so all how you the way you create a function in Python is very simple. All you go def for define and then the name of the function. So you go def my first function. Just like that. You put parentheses and you put the double dot, you go down. And that's all you do for the function. Now the function's created. I put pass here. All that is just it does nothing. It's so the function, it runs the function, it does nothing, you're passing it. And you could put pass for anything. I just put it here so it doesn't have the red line. So I leave it, it's gonna be red. And so this is the function. That's has nothing in it. It has no input. It's just the function. And how we call a function is like this. So you're on your main code. This doesn't run anything, right? So we could put print I ran my first function. We run it, nothing happens. And so how we have to run it is we actually have to call this function. And so we just type it out my first function. And so now it has one usage, right? So we created it, it has one use. So it runs, it goes up to here and prints it. I ran my first function. Now it worked. And that's how a function works in a very simple terms. And so as I said, a function is like a machine because you could have inputs and outputs. This one has no inputs or outputs. It just prints something. And so we'll start with the input. And you create your inputs for the function up here in the parentheses. And so let's create a function with name and age. So we'll create def uh character func, right? Like that. And so these inputs, since you have different characters, right? You'll have a name, and let's say you have age, and we'll say job, for example, and we'll pass it just for now. And so what this is it's basically saying, all right, I'm calling this function, but to call this function, you have to input a name, an age, and a job. And you go character func, so you call it, but if I call it just like this, it errors. I need three positional arguments. These are called arguments. Inputs are arguments. And I need the name argument, the age, and the job. And so name, let's just do me, Rico, right? We'll have an age, 19, and then our job is, let's just say student, right? And then now these are our inputs, name, age, and job. You go right here, you could print it. So we could print new character. And then we could go print name, just like this, str of name, print age, just like that, str of age. Go print job, that str of job. And these inputs, these values, these variables are only used in this function. If I have name out here, I can't even call it. There's no such thing as name. This is solely for this function. So now we could call it, boom, new character, name Rico, 19, student. These are our inputs that we're using for this function that we created. And that's all a function is. And you could you could get confused with variables inside the function and outside the function. And these are the inner variables of the function. So you can't call name, age, job outside of this function unless you do something called global variables. And so global variables are variables that you could change inside and outside. So let's say I have, without a global variable, an x equals 10. I've always been using x equals 10, but that's what we're gonna use for a number. And let's say we have another input called x, and this x is now 11, right? And so we're gonna print what x is, our input, and we'll print x out here, right? So it's basically saying, all right, we have this input x, and we're gonna call this function with x is 11, and we're gonna be printing x. This x is gonna be 11, so this x should be 11, right? We'll see. So we're printing the function, and this is printing from the outside function. X is 11 inside, but x is 10 on the outside of the function. Why is that? Because this x is only for this function, as I've been explaining, unless you include something called a global variable. So we could go, all you do is to make a global variable is you go global x. And so this global variable x is now created, and to call it on the inside and to link these two variables from the outside and the inside of the function, you just do the same thing, global x. Oh, oh, because you're using it as a parameter, but x input, right? And so now we could make x is equal to the input of x. And then so now if we run it, these should both be 11, just like that. So let me explain, let me go through each of the lines. All right, I want to have this global variable x. This x is equal to 10. We're going to call this character function with Rico, 19, student, and 11. These are all just the parameters. You don't even have to have these if these aren't here. But our x input is now 11. And in this function, whatever we change to this x on the inside changes to the outside, because these two variables are globals. It's linked to the outside of this function, global x. And so now x is equal to x input. And so whatever happens on the inside is now on the outside for x. And then we go print x on the inside and outside of the function, and they're both 11 now instead of 10 and 11. And that's how you use global variables. And so now we've been talking about inputting something into our machine. Now we have to talk about outputting. How do we get output out of this machine? You could do something like this. So let me come up with a new, we'll just have the name, age, and job, right? And so we'll go take this out. We don't want to talk about globals anymore. We already explained it. Take this out, take this out, take this out. All right. So you have print name, age, job. That's what the function does. And so to get something out, let's say we want a function that says how old we'll be in 10 years. We're going to be returning. So that's how you get an output. You return something. Return, let's say we want to return our age in 10 years. We return age plus 10. Age is going to be an integer plus another integer. It's going to return the age plus 10. And how do we store that in the outside? We just call this function to a variable. We assign it to a variable, new age or older age. Let's do older age is equal to this function, right? So it's going to this whole function, but it's going to return our age that we inputted plus 10. So it's going to return 29, and this answer 29 is going to be equal to this value. That's it. And so then we'll print older age, just like that. Boom. So it's going to it's going to print new character, the name, the age, the job, just because of the function. And then after it's all done, the function stops and it's going to return the age plus 10. And this age plus 10 is now part of this variable, and we're printing this variable. And that's all it does. So we're inputting, our inputs are here, and we create these variables from here. And you could do whatever you want with these variables. You could just return the age. That's what we're doing. You could return anything. You could return the name plus job, or name plus, we'll have a space, plus job. I can't even spell like that. And so, and then we're gonna, yeah, and we're printing it. Rico student is now the value. It's a string value because it's not a number anymore, because we're not dealing with age and integers, right? These are integers, these are strings. So he's saying, all right, name, we're returning the name Rico plus a space. So it's not Rico student, one word, plus the job. And it's now part of this value as a string, part of this variable, and then you're printing older age. And that's how inputs and outputs work for loops. And you could put for loops in here. You could put conditional statements. And yeah, you can put anything in a function. It's just organized now by itself, and it's isolated from the outside of the code. And yeah, that's basically how functions work. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you.